So, Vice President nominee for the Republican side, JD Vance. I don't know how you guys feel about him. Let me know down in the comments. Just went to the border, right? You expect him to talk to the media and talk about the issues at the border, but that wasn't CNN's plan. No, 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 no. CNN's plan was to try to bait him into a crazy old conversation about race, about Kamala Harris, about Trump, about everything else. But JD Vance also had different plans and how to handle this. CNN correspondent here. Ladies and gentlemen, smash the like button if you guys can. That does help the algorithm. I'm going to try to wait for some people to get in here. And as you're getting in here, let me know where you guys are watching from, as there's some things we got to go through because the race conversation in America right now, I am sick and tired of it. It is the only thing people are talking about, unfortunately, on both sides. Don't know how you guys feel about that. I don't like it. But JD Vance, look, man, he's convincing me otherwise. He really is. I didn't really like this pick, but he's been standing 10 toes down. So let's take a look at when a reporter tries to bait him and race bait him at the same time. What is his response? Let's take a listen.
Senator Vance, we're at the border today. You just got done touring the border. Vice President Harris has contended that you and President Trump, former President Trump, had tanked the bipartisan border deal that would have provided a lot more funding to support the border. What is your response to that?
Well, look, the bipartisan border deal was actually a massive giveaway to illegal immigrants. It would not have solved any of the problems that Kamala Harris has caused. I mean, they came into the administration, they promised from day one that they would suspend deportations, that they would reinstate catch and release, that they would end remain in Mexico. They implemented these policies, and it had the intended effect of opening up the southern border. What happened is that Kamala Harris, who was the border czar, decided that this was not good politically, and so they tried to implement some new law that actually wouldn't have solved the underlying problem. They have the tools necessary. They just need to empower Border Patrol to tell people who want to come in illegally, you're not allowed to do that. They just need to use the authority.
Oh, he was ready. And is this a wall? Is this the wall that Trump was building? Is this it? Wow.
That the border czar Kamala Harris has.
I want to ask you about the former president's comments yesterday.
So once again, well, just one question about the border. And you know what's crazy? The way he starts off is tanking the media. Bro, the media is all right. I'll let it play.
You just got done touring the border. Vice President Harris has contended that you and President Trump, former President Trump, had tanked the bipartisan border deal that would have provided a lot more funding to support the border. What is your response to that?
Well, look, the bipartisan border deal was actually a massive giveaway to illegal immigrants. It would not have solved any of the problems that Kamala Harris has caused. I mean, they came into the administration, they promised from day one that they would suspend deportations, that they would reinstate catch and release, that they would end remain in Mexico. They implemented these policies, and it had the intended effect of opening up the southern border. What happened is that Kamala Harris, who was the border czar, decided that this was not good politically, and so they tried to implement some new law that actually wouldn't have solved the underlying problem. They have the tools necessary. They just need to empower Border Patrol to tell people who want to come in illegally, you're not allowed to do that. They just need to use the authority that the border czar Kamala Harris has.
I want to ask you about the former president's comments yesterday to the National Association of Black Journalists, where he said that Vice President Harris is, quote, all of a sudden black. As a father of 3 biracial children, did those comments give you pause at all?
They don't give me pause at all. Look, all he said is that Kamala Harris is a chameleon. She goes to Georgia 2 days ago. She was raised in Canada. She puts on a fake Southern accent. She is everything to everybody, and she pretends to be somebody different depending on which audience she's in front of. I think it's totally reasonable for the president to call that out, and that's all he did. I mean, look, she's running as a tough on crime prosecutor, even though she implemented open border policies. She said,
Whoa.
saying that she wants to support the police, yet she wanted to defund the police just 3 years ago. It's totally reasonable to call out the fact that she pretends to be somebody different depending on the audience she's talking to.
Woo! That boy, hey, is this JD Vance from 2 weeks ago? Hold on. What do you call somebody that morphs into whatever they need to be at that moment? There's a name for that. A what? No, not a code switcher may be a word, but somebody that morphs, that like their superpower is like morphing into what they need to be at that moment. He's Listen, man, he's not playing around.
He did. I mean, look, she's running as a tough on crime prosecutor, even though she implemented open border policy. She's saying that she wants to support the police, yet she wanted to defund the police just 3 years ago. It's totally reasonable to call out the fact that she pretends to be somebody different depending on the audience she's talking to.
You used that word chameleon yesterday as well. You're someone who was an unabashed critic of the former president previously. Now you're his running mate. You're someone who have text messages out there now that say, "I hate the police." Now, yesterday you said, "I back the blue." By your own standard, are you a chameleon?
Look, I criticized Donald Trump 10 years ago, and we've talked about it, and I've made a good argument.
Hey, the reporter is trying. Hey, he's trying. I didn't see this part. How does JD answer this question is going to determine whether I rock with this guy or not? Because the reporter just came with some receipts. Okay, so let's see how he responds to this, because I don't know. Let's see.
I hate the police. Now, yesterday you said, "I back the blue." By your own standard, are you a chameleon?
Look, I criticized Donald Trump 10 years ago, and we've talked about it, and I've made a good argument to the American people about why I think he was a great president and why I think he deserves re-election. That's different than going to Georgia 2 days ago and putting on a fake Southern accent when you were raised in Canada. So I think it's totally reasonable to change your mind. Has Kamala Harris stood for a tough debate with you and explained why she wanted to ban fracking and now she doesn't, or why she wanted to defund the police and now she doesn't, or why she wanted to open the border but now she doesn't? It's reasonable to change your mind. It's not reasonable to run and hide from the media and not answer the American people's questions.
Okay, he got it. Yeah, okay, he got it. He got it. He got it. He got it. He got it right there. He got it. That's actually a more impressive answer than I would have gave. Look, man, people change their minds all the time. I used to not like Donald Trump. I like Donald Trump. I used to not vote ever Republican. I might be I'm not registered Republican, but I will be voting Republican for the first time in the general election in 2024. People change their minds all the time, but the fact is that they don't challenge Kamala Harris the same way they challenge JD Vance or Donald Trump. So he's not wrong here. Actually, he's cooking. I gotta keep it 1,000.
Debate with you and explained why she wanted to ban fracking and now she doesn't, or why she wanted to defund the police and now she doesn't, or why she wanted to open the border but now she doesn't. It's reasonable to change your mind. It's not reasonable to run and hide from the media and not answer the American people's questions.
He was also asked yesterday if you were ready to be president on day one. He kind of dodged the question. What do you still have to do as his running mate to prove to him that you are ready to step into that role?
Well, I think Donald Trump was answering a political question, and he was answering it correctly. He said for years that who the vice president is doesn't really matter politically. Most Americans are voting either for Kamala Harris or for Donald Trump. They're not voting for the vice presidential nominee of either party. Look, I'm absolutely ready to be president on day one. I've been a businessman. I've been a United States Marine. I've been a senator. I can do the job, but politically, he's just right. People are voting for Donald Trump primarily.
So why are you out here today then if you aren't necessary to this process?
Well,
what? Like, what is wrong with this reporter, bro? Like, what is wrong with the left? Thank you for your donation. I'm gonna read your donations before this video is over, bro. Pepperoni, thank you so much for your donations, bro.
I didn't say I wasn't necessary to the process. I can certainly make an argument that borders are Kamala Harris has failed the American people, but I think ultimately they're going to be voting either for Kamala Harris or for Donald Trump.
Do you have a reaction to the news that just came out about the prisoner swap that will bring 2 Americans back home potentially?
Look, I think it's great news, at least what little we know. We certainly want these Americans to come back home. It was ridiculous that they were in prison to begin with, but we have to ask ourselves, why are they coming home? And I think it's because bad guys all over the world recognize Donald Trump's about to be back in office, so they're cleaning house. That's a good thing, and I think it's a testament to Donald Trump's strength.
No, that he's cooking. What an answer. Oh, what an answer. That was, hey, this guy is handling the media very well here. I thought he had a crazy 2 weeks. I can't lie. I thought he handled his past because, of course, the media is attacking people on their past. We're seeing Kamala's past come up, right? We've seen JD Vance's past come up to the left. I don't think he handled it as well. He's handling this very, very well.
To come back home. It was ridiculous that they were in prison to begin with, but we have to ask ourselves, why are they coming home? And I think it's because bad guys all over the world recognize Donald Trump's about to be back in office, so they're cleaning house. That's a good thing, and I think it's a testament to Donald Trump's strength.
You've explained at length your past criticism of the former president. I'm just curious, though, is there still an issue where you feel like you are on a different level than him, that you feel like you are hoping to sway him on if you were to become his vice president?
Look, my job as vice president will be to help implement the governing agenda. And if, God forbid, something happens, to step into the gap. But Donald Trump's very healthy. I think he's going to be a great president. He's going to be a great president for 4 years. But my job here is to help prosecute the case, let the American people know what Kamala Harris actually is, what she's actually done. And then when we get in the White House to actually help govern, that's what I'm going to focus on doing.
So there's not an issue where you two differ at all?
Look, certainly we're going to differ on issues from time to time, but my job is to provide counsel to the president in private, and then try to help him govern and do everything we can to help him do that.
Your reaction to
they would never, ever, ever, ever put that much pressure on Kamala Harris. They would never do this. They would never. So here's another favorite clip of mine that I saw. Let's take a listen to this.
How does her changing her views on her policy justify having the Republican nominee questioning her race? How does that increase or decrease your party's chances of winning in November?
Well, Caitlin, you haven't had that conversation with Kamala Harris because she's been hiding out.
I want to have this conversation with you, Senator.
Just like Joe Biden hid out before her.
Yes. I don't know who this guy is. I really don't. Tom Cotton is his name. Senator, could be congressman. I'm not sure, but I know here he's a senator actually from Arkansas. So let me get that correct. Let me straighten myself up. But I think this is it. This is the right answer.
Well, Caitlin, you haven't had that conversation with Kamala Harris because she's been hiding out.
I want to have this conversation with you, Senator.
Just like Joe Biden hid out before her. And my point is, when are you and the rest of the media going to demand that Kamala Harris come out and answer questions in an unscripted format about where she stands for this country, as opposed to continuing to focus on what Donald Trump said today? 4 years ago, Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for him, you ain't black. Could you imagine a more insulting comment? Joe Biden is presuming to judge the political views.
Yeah, you don't like that, Collins. You don't like that, Caitlin.
Of 1/8 of our fellow citizens based on their skin color. Did you ever ask Kamala Harris to condemn his remarks?
There are
Did you ever ask him or ask her if that was racist?
Nope, they haven't, because they won't. They won't ever. They won't ever do it.
This is a question. You're a Republican senator, so I want to ask you about the Republican.
Did you ask Caitlin?
He's talking over her. Oh, okay.
You asked Kamala Harris. Caitlin, did you ask Kamala Harris why she's willing to serve as vice president for a man she essentially called racist and a segregationist?
Hold on. We got to pull that video up. Kamala Harris calls Biden racist. Hold on. Kamala Harris calls Biden racist. We need to bring up this video. Is this the video right here? This could be the video.
It's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing.
No, that's not the video. Somebody send me the video. Hold on, I'll find it real quick. Because if there's a video of Kamala Harris calls Biden racist, I think I've seen this before. I just thought this was a great point. My bad, guys. I hate to go off the rails here. Is there a video of that? Well, if there is, because that is pretty crazy. Tom Cotton said that. So I got to see if this is true.
Political views of 1/8 of our fellow citizens based on their skin color. Did you ever ask Kamala Harris to condemn his remarks?
There are
Did you ever ask him or ask her if that was racist?
This is a question. You're a Republican senator, so I want to ask you about the Republican.
Did you ask Caitlin? Did you ask Kamala Harris? Caitlin, did you ask Kamala Harris why she's willing to serve as vice president for a man she essentially called racist and a segregationist? Have you or anyone else in the media asked Kamala Harris those questions, Caitlin?
Senator,
because he opposed busing, and she said that she was hurt by that, and that the fact that was racist. Okay, I think this might be it. If this is not it, I really do want to find the video, though.
You commit yourself to the importance of finding common ground. But I also believe, and it's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful.
Okay, we just saw this part.
You also worked with them to oppose busing.
Look, everything I've done in my career, I ran because of civil rights. I continue to think we have to make fundamental changes in civil rights. And those civil rights, by the way, include not just only African Americans, but the LGBT community.
But Vice President Biden, do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America? Then,
No.
do you agree?
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education. That's what I opposed.
Well,
I
there
did
was
not
a
oppose.
failure of states to integrate
No, but-
public schools in America. I was part of the second class to integrate Berkeley, California public schools almost 2 decades after Brown v. Board of Education.
Because your city council made that decision. It was a
So
local
that's where the
decision.
federal government must step
The
in. That's why
federal
we have the
government
Voting
must
Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act.
Oh, this is crazy. I didn't know they went at it on stage because she called them out for opposing busing. And then she becomes his VP. How weird is that? I didn't even know this. I've heard of this, but I really didn't understand. So that's why she was mad at him. Wow, that's some. And then I knew that she came at him for some racism stuff of the past, but I didn't know it was because he opposed busing and then they just became like really cool after that. It's just like, yo, like, you want to be my VP? I think you're a racist, and I think what you did back then was like opposing busing, like for integrated busing or whatever. And that's weird. Yeah, this is crazy. It's not crazy like this guy is crazy. This is a fun video for you guys.
Don't know. She was vice president.
Okay, apparently these are white boys for Harris. This is like a new trend. White boys for Harris. This is one of the white boys. Looks like a white man for Harris. Take a listen.
Don't know. She was vice president of the United States, and she was attorney general in California, and she was the senator from California. I really don't know much of what she did.
I'm not sure I know enough about her accomplishments to answer that question.
Well, the first is that she is the vice president. The second, that she was in the Senate. And then also that she was the attorney general for the state of California.
Is being elected to Congress. That's number one. I think breaking some glass barriers as being the district attorney. And I just think the way that she carries herself.
She was attorney general in her state. She moved up to becoming, the vice president of the United States. So she has definitely she's definitely made her stamp in history of being the first African American female president, vice president. And so
she's not African American. Why do we keep saying this? She's not African American. That is a offensive way of looking at somebody. She's not African American. African Americans are people who were slaves or descendants of slaves in this country, who are foundational Black Americans, who were here from the very beginning of the birth of the United States of America. That's an African American. Like, that's what I don't understand. Why do we call her an African American? She's not that. She's Jamaican. Her family is of Indian descent. Her father is a Black Jamaican man. Her race is Black and Indian, brown, whatever you want to call it, but she's not an African. She's not a foundational Black American. And I hate to talk about that. I really don't care. All right, here we go.
Now, maybe the worst and most dishonest thing
that Kamala Harris has done, and it is a long list, my friends, is that she helped cover up Joe Biden's declining mental capacity for years. It's actually sad. Putin, Xi, Kim Jong-un, all these dictators, they have been sitting in private rooms for 3.5 years, licking their chops because we have a president who can't actually do the job. Now, anyone who's too blind to see Biden's incompetence or too dishonest to admit it is not fit to serve as commander-in-chief. She lied to us. She lied to all of us, and it's unacceptable. And you know, they never give President Trump an easy path. Kamala Harris, the Democratic elites are trying to install her as their new nominee without her receiving a single vote for president. The media, our friends back there, they call it a coronation. I think there's another word. I call it a coup. In America, we do not crown our leaders. We vote for them. Democrat or Republican, you got to give the voters a choice. But if there's one thing we've learned about Kamala Harris, it's that she has a hard time winning votes because she's too extreme even for the Democrat Party. Remember, in the 2020 primary, Harris dropped out months before they even cast the first vote. She was so unpopular, she polled in the low single digits among Democrats the entire campaign. She wasn't even the top 3 in her home state of California, and that is pretty embarrassing, ladies and gentlemen. And the reason is because Democrats know that the American people would never elect a San Francisco liberal who's so far outside the mainstream. Now, we've got to give some credit to our Democrat friends because they were right in 2020. The American people are never going to elect a wacky, out-of-touch San Francisco liberal like Kamala Harris.
You know, what are her policies? I really don't know. I really don't. Thank you, Pepperoni, for your donation. Thank you, Our Health, for your donation. I want to read this real quick before I go. Your LV, F for your videos. You heard hilarious. Yo, congrats on new subs and whatnot, bro. Real talk. I hope you keep it up. Well, come on, Trump. For sure, bro. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I really don't know what her policies. I really haven't heard like what her policy stances are. Like, I really don't know. I'm gonna do some research on that. I know Trump's plan, Trump's policies. We've seen Trump be president before, but we don't know what her presidency is going to look like. Now, if her presidency is going to look like anything like the last 4 years, then that's not good. But Democrats, they just don't care. They just don't want Trump to be president. They're all in their feelings. And yeah, America could burn down. You could be like, people are willing to be broke. It looks like Democrats are willing to like be broke, not afford houses, be at war all over the place, not be diplomatic around the world to try to form peace or peace through strength. They're just on some like whatever, inflation, yes, whatever, as long as Trump does not become president. That's what it feels like to me. Like, it really does feel like that. They don't care. They're just like, whatever. The world could be burning around us as long as Trump doesn't become president. Like, that's what it feels like to me. Like, it really does feel that way. Like, I have not heard, oh, she has an amazing plan. I don't know, her policy on this issue, her policy overseas, her policy domestically. Like, I haven't really heard anybody make the cases. They're just like, oh, yeah, Trump can't be president. That's it. So to me, it just whatever. I guess if that's your stance on that, then whatever. And it's not even that. I don't care what her stance was on Joe Biden before. What I'm saying is, if your stance on Joe Biden is that he's a racist, and that same year, within that same year, you all of a sudden change your mind and become his vice president. JD Vance hated Trump 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 7 years ago. He hated Trump. He didn't like Trump for a long time ago. He changed his mind throughout the years. I changed my mind throughout the years. A lot of people have changed their mind throughout the years, but to change your mind at that moment, specifically when you're running and then like you drop, that's why I said that. I mean, she could change her mind. I don't care. People change their minds all the time, but like changing your mind right away and just becoming somebody's VP right away after you just like said all of this crazy stuff, that's politics for you, though, I guess. All right, guys, I'm going to get up out of here. Smash the like button if you guys can. Smash the like button. Thank you.